Ladies and gentlemen, we've got more important early vote data. We're getting stuff right now out of Pennsylvania. We're getting things out of Nevada, Arizona. You do have the current situation with Pennsylvania and them talking about the firewall. I'm going to go through this. Biden got 2 million mail-in votes in 2020. Trump got 600K. So the Democrat firewall was 1.4 million vote advantage going into election day. Do you really think a 500K advantage for Harris means a victory? And that comes from this post, which is this liberal person talking about the Democrats and their current firewall plus 294K, saying they're around 3/4 of the way to getting 400K, which doesn't make a lot of sense considering when you look at the 2020 figures where Trump gets 600K in 2020, Biden gets 2 million, that's 1.4. Why would it then get cut down to 500,000 from 1.4 million in vote advantage in 2020? I could understand that if Biden won the state by 5 or 6 points in 2020, but the state was very close. It was an 80K vote difference. So it seems like this whole firewall thing, it's just made up numbers for liberals to try and act like, oh, they're doing well in the state. Obviously, they're going to have the early vote advantage, especially in a state like Pennsylvania. But these numbers are way off from where they are supposed to be, at least in accordance to 2020. Maybe they're comparing it to 2016, but Hillary lost in 2016 in Pennsylvania. So I don't exactly know where they got that number of, oh, we've got a firewall. Once we get to 500K, that's the sweet spot. We're winning the state guaranteed. Well, Biden was at 1.4 million in terms of early voting. So you go from 1.4 million to 500K and you think you're doing good? Really? And obviously, we know there's going to be more Republicans early voting, but that's a bit ridiculous. And we understand the dynamic when you compare it to 2020. It's going to be different. But we've got huge Pennsylvania numbers. We've got Atlas Intel coming out and saying Pennsylvania is a 3.5-point Republican lead. We've got Elon Musk doing daily town halls in Pennsylvania with huge lines. We've got Trump doing rallies in Pennsylvania. You've got some of the Steelers players now. You've got Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell out campaigning for Trump at rallies. Trump right now is investing a ton in Pennsylvania. It is the most important swing state. And obviously, these numbers are very, very good. If you can keep it around 500K when you had a firewall of 1.4 million, that is a significant decrease. There's going to be more day of voting for the Democrats. We understand that. But based off of the polls and based off of these numbers, it looks like they're just throwing random things up like, oh, once we get this 500K firewall, well, Biden technically had a 1.4 million vote advantage going into election night. That 500K, that's a lot less. That is a lot less. And we know it is going to be closer, but still. You've got the latest Senate map. This is from Atlas Intel. So Atlas Intel also did polling, and look at this. This is the Senate map with Ohio not polled. And Ohio, we would expect Bernie Moreno to win by around 2 to 3 points. He is currently the betting favorite, and it's more so Trump if he wins Ohio, like we expect, by 8 or 9 points. There's not going to be that much split ballot. It's going to be very, very hard for Brown, even being the incumbent, to win that Senate seat. So you're looking at potentially 54 here if Republicans can win Michigan, Pennsylvania. This is them losing Nevada and Arizona. Obviously, keeping Texas and Florida, we expect that. But I would say definitely taking Montana. That's pretty much a lock. You take Ohio, and then if you can get 2, that's 54, which is very important, especially when you look at the 2026 midterms to get up to 54. 53 or 54 is what you want. And I've said it was either going to be 53 or 54 because I think they're taking Montana and Ohio and then one Rust Belt, whether it's Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania. If Trump wins Pennsylvania by 3.5, I think McCormick's going to win by about a point. I really, if Trump was able to stretch a victory, a margin of victory in Pennsylvania by 3.5, McCormick would be able to get pushed over the finish line by like a point and a half or something like that. And in Pennsylvania, it's the same thing with Rogers. I mean, you've seen an Atlas Intel. Now, Atlas Intel was a little bit more conservative when it came to those states in terms of the margin, because we normally don't see Trump up by 3.5 in Pennsylvania, Trump up by 3 in Michigan, although there's been a few polls in Michigan that have had Trump up by around 3 or 4. But if you get that margin, now you're talking about the Senate race is getting a lot better in the Rust Belt for Republicans. Even though Wisconsin is potentially in play if Trump can win it by 2.5 to 3. And then again, you look at Ohio, they didn't pull Ohio. That's another state where Trump wins by 8.5, 9.5, kind of like he won in 2020 or 2016. We expect it to be a little bit more than in 2020 or 2016 because of the environment. We're looking at a Bernie Moreno victory. Even if it is just by a few points, it's still going to happen because that's just very hard to make up in terms of the split ballot voting. You've got Nevada early vote numbers, Republicans sitting at 46%, Democrats at around 32. You can see the in-person early voting versus the mail-in, Republicans winning both of them. So far, there's only 76K votes. Very, very important to caution people. Only 76,000 votes. I know people are saying Clark County, it's crazy. Trump is winning it. He's not going to end up winning the early vote in Clark County. We have to calm down. These are good numbers, but this is just a day, early time, day one, day two snapshot of Nevada. But there are very good numbers in Nevada. There's very good numbers in Georgia right now. There's good numbers in Pennsylvania with their fake firewall. So for Trump right now, and then obviously you look at all the betting and everything like that, and then the Atlas Intel poll, and now we're really talking about the popular vote being a potential Trump victory as well, to the point where I might have to predict a Trump popular vote victory, and I don't even think that it's that far out. And it's not just the swing in some of these states like Nevada, but it's more so the swing in the more liberal states. And that's why some people were like, they were shocked that Trump, and it doesn't make a lot of sense that Trump would be +3 in the popular vote, but losing some of the swing states, which is what Atlas Intel had it. But the reason that is because of the massive shift in the liberal states where Trump's going to cut into the margin significantly. So Nevada, I mean, these are really, really good early vote numbers, but this is a very, very early snapshot. This is another interesting trend. Now, what liberals will claim is, Rasmussen is, I mean, even if you want to say that it's biased to Trump, NBC News, Quinnipiac, Marquette. How bad has Marquette been this cycle? Now they've got Trump up in a national popular vote. Fox News has been, in terms of their polling, they underestimate Trump. Atlas Intel has been the number one most accurate pollster. These numbers look amazing for Trump when you look at some of these recent polls. I got to be honest. You've also got this. This is kind of like their daily polling trend, TIPP. Right now, they do have Trump sitting +2. Yeah, so this is kind of like ridiculous. I mean, this is a 4-day span. It's shifted 6 points. I mean, I guess it's good that, you want to be up for sure, but that's kind of weird that that's a 4-day span like that. 538 has Trump, 52% chance to win. Honestly, I know it's a model, right? And we know how 538 rigs it. And this is what all the political forecasts do, is they'll have a model. And obviously, when it comes to inputting data into that model, you can choose to weight polls more than others. And they basically weight the liberal polls that have been wrong significantly in 2020 and 2016. They weight them heavily, so they get more runway, and that's why you see a Marist with a just pathetic, horrible poll that has Harris +5 when everyone knows it's ridiculous. It's a +7 Dem sample, but it's like a weighted an A+, and so it affects the model. So I really hope 538 ends up having Harris win, because imagine they actually do go with Trump and they're like, we got it right, and it's just like, the way you did it, your process is so flawed. They should just have Harris winning, honestly. Because I want them to be wrong, because it's just been so horrible this entire cycle. You've got this Clark County. Yeah, I mean, Trump's doing very well, but it is very early voting there. We have to understand that. Arizona, this is also really good data. 2024 general election turnout estimate. You have Republicans with around a +8% electorate advantage. So the Republican electorate advantage in Arizona in 2020 was around 4 points, and Trump barely lost the state by less than a point. Now you're talking about an 8-point electorate advantage. That lines up with what we expect. We've been saying it's about a 3.5-point victory in Arizona for Trump. It's going to be the easiest swing state for either candidate to win, is Arizona going for Trump. And that's the expectation. So you've got a +8 Republican electorate advantage. And it might actually be like a 5-point victory if you get a +8 Republican electorate advantage, because it was +4 and Trump barely lost, and now it's a more favorable environment. But you're looking at least a 2 or a 3-point victory in Arizona with these numbers if this holds, with the advantage of around 8%. Obviously, the others, they're probably going to lean more liberal, at least on average. At least they did in 2020, because that's how you get, if you have a 4-point Republican electorate advantage and then the Republican loses by half a point, that's a lot of independents going left, and we expect that. But you're not going to make up 8 points like that in a state like Arizona, especially with a more favorable environment for Trump in 2024. That's just not how it works. So if these numbers are close to accurate with a +8 Republican electorate advantage in Arizona, you're looking at a 4.5-point win, something like that. And now you're talking about Kari Lake, because Kari Lake is going to perform a lot better than the polls indicate. I can guarantee you that. Kari Lake's not losing the state by 6 or 7. And I know a lot of Republicans, they're not too fond of Kari Lake, but listen, it's possible Trump takes us by 4.5. Kari Lake can win by about 1. We'll have to see what ends up happening, but it's not like there are some polls that have Kari Lake close to winning that state. But either way, guys, We're getting good numbers out of Nevada. We're getting good popular vote numbers. We're getting good numbers out of Georgia. We're getting good numbers out of North Carolina. We're getting good numbers out of Arizona, looking like a +8 Republican electorate. That's the forecast right now. You've got 538 now, and their sham model admitting, all right, Trump's going to win. We give up. Maybe they'll go back and forth. It's, it is what it is. But all the betting saying Trump's going to win. Everything is aligning right now. The Big Atlas Intel poll, the most accurate pollster in 2020, one of the most accurate pollsters in the midterms, but 2020 is what we really look at. Their national popular vote. It's been +3 Trump in July. It's been +3 Trump in August. It's been +3 Trump in September. It's been +3 Trump now after the update yesterday in October. So they're sitting +3 Trump. We've got the Gallup Party ID sitting +2 to 3 Republican pro-environment. We have the most accurate pollster. We have the most accurate party ID. National popular vote. They're both saying Trump is going to win by 2 to 3 points. Boy, we would have to see some crazy deviation for Kamala Harris to win this election. That's what it tells me. We've got the most accurate party ID popular vote model, along with the most accurate just poll in general on the popular vote in 2020 for 3 straight months now, saying Trump's +3. This is a popular vote victory for Trump, I think, honestly, when you think about this. But this is crazy. Either way, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.